did a radio interview the other night, and he's wanting to know how am I modifying the FB1s to get the performance that you can get out of this trap. Now this is going to be hard to show on video, but what we're doing is this dog, you got to make sure that this is loose. It's got a nut and bolt just like a trap. This little part right here is just like the dogless hookup on an old Montgomery foothold trap or a Montana. So what I'm going to do is where that's coming straight down, and so if this is straight down, that's going to have a lot of contact with this plate right here when it hooks. So this is the way they come. It's got a little more movement than some people want. So what I do is you always want to make sure that this is loose, which you can, that's pretty loose. And then I'm going to take this file, and what I'm trying to do now, instead of having this being straight up and down like that, I'm going to file this just to the point that I can't set this trap anymore, where it won't set. So like right now, it'll set. So but I'm going to take it where it can't set. So I'm taking this straight up and down edge and I'm moving it backwards this way so it'll no longer set. And then once I find that spot, you don't want to do a whole lot, because you can't add metal really once you take it away. This is not my normal file, but luckily Albert had this little bitty still set. But do you see kind of what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I'm going to take it right past the point where it'll no longer hold.
So you're on the inside, underneath that dog.
Yeah, yeah. This like this right here. Well, this right here is this right here.
Okay.
The way they kind of come, and you can still see that one's almost still straight up and down.
Right.
But I'm just going to go ahead and test it. And what this allows you to do is you can have this where it's almost zero movement and zero pan tension to fire the trigger. So that's the performance that I'm talking about. That's getting close.
See, I would have thought you would have made the trigger shorter.
No.
The hook that goes over.
Well, you can somewhat do that, but I'll show you. If you just try to pull this up, kind of like you try to adjust your regular dog proofs,
right?
What happens? That's pretty close. I can tell you right now that that's not going to have any movement, but I'll do it for video purposes. When you're not using a triangle file, this is a little easier.
Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of choice what to work with.
No. But you see how that's starting to go backwards?
Yeah, it's starting to.
See, instead of being straight up and down, it's starting to lean out. Well, I mean, that I guarantee you that right there, it's not going to be. Now, I've taken some of that material out because of this file, but when you move this trigger up and down, let me go get something. You just don't. That trap is set. And what people are doing with these traps is they sit there, which they've never obviously done with anybody else's trap, but for some reason they want to do it to this one. See, I'm going to barely. I mean, no movement.
Yeah, there was none.
No movement whatsoever, because now it's got just enough friction to hold the springs, so when that cam rotates, it automatically turns loose of the plate.
Okay. Now, how does it do on the push part? The same thing?
See, I'm right on the edge of what that is, and I'm gonna take it back just a little bit to show everybody. But when you get these, shake them. See, that was so close to the edge. If you have them that tight or that loose, if a coon comes up and knocks it, it's gonna fire the trap. So you don't want that. go back to my handy dandy diagram. But we've taken this in, we're right on the edge right now. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to try to take a fuzz of this metal and come back in.
Okay.
Follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I'm not wanting to do a lot. Now see, that's going to move. And another thing people are doing with these is they're sticking. See how much movement we get. None. No movement whatsoever now. When I talk about it being more of a performance machine, you can't do that with any other trap on the market.
Not that I know of.
You really can't. You got to make sure this doesn't get gunked up and it gets tight, just like on a regular foothold trap. And now that thing will catch anything that puts its foot in it. That's the reason I like it so much.
Okay.
But it is different. I mean, it really is. If you're going to have performance, you're going to have maintenance.
Right.
If you're not really cared about performance as much, you can go the other route, still catch coon, but you're not going to. It's just not going to be the performance machine this is.
Okay. See, now I would have filed this part of it down here instead of the inside where you beveled it back up.
But what a lot of people, and I tried this and I thought it was helping until I saw something one day, is you pull up on that dog. And what you do when you pull up on that dog and you barely have it hanging on, you're moving this pivot point where it's out like this.
Okay.
So then it's no longer touching the cam. So you are going to have a lot of movement if you pull the dog up on the back of the plate because you disengaged it from the firing mechanism. So this is the way that I'm getting the performance I'm getting out of these things.
Well, that's good. Makes sense. I understood. Before when you were just talking about it, I didn't have a clue what you were talking about, but now seeing it.
And you can see what that looks like now. But if you're going to do this, you know, just a little bit at a time till it doesn't fire, then you start correcting that angle, going more straight till it does fire, and you can shake it and it won't fire. And then as soon as an animal touches that trigger, it's firing.
Up or down?
Up or down. I mean, there's almost zero movement whatsoever because it's just trying to fly off of here at that point.
Well, that's really no different than tuning a foothold trap.
No, people are just used to really crude, dog-proof traps. And I get that. I mean, I do get that. You know, but the other thing at the beginning of next season, because we've been using this all year, I will take that nut and bolt out, and I'll make sure there's no gunk in there, and I'll put it back in. And before every trip, you know, I spray it down with, you use silicone, you like that better, I use Pam cooking oil, but I also do that to my CDRs, my KB 5.5s, anything that's tight clearance and has something where performance is going to be important, so they got it really precise. I want to make sure it's all moving. That's how you tune that trap up.
Well, after seeing that, I may try a few.
I bet you will.
Yeah.